Hi, this is Mark from Altcoin Buzz, and we're in the middle of the week. We're going to look at Bitcoin on the USD charts and see where we may be going into the weekend. Let's get started. Okay, this is going to be relatively quick. We're looking at the USD 4-hour chart on Coinbase. And we've had some comments about why do you go back and forth between the 4-hour and the 1 day and the 1 week and the 1 month, and you're saying the same thing over and over again. But I'm not really saying the same thing over and over again. 4-hour is a level chart, right? It's what's the feeling right now from a price action standpoint? How are traders trading in the short term? When we look at the 1 day, it's a little bit more macro. When we look at the 1 week, it's getting a little bit more reliable. 1 month, same thing. Just keep going, right? Because if we look at the 4-hour, we've got an uptick going on. We've got lower volume, we've got an uptick going on, so it's a weak uptick, and we want to see how that translates to the 1 day. And we'll look at the 1 day, because the 1 day is going to take 6 of these candles and lump it into one, right? So it's a little bit more macro. One of the things we were looking at the beginning of the week was we were right in here, we had come up on a price rise and tested this upper support level. And the comment that I made was, if we come back down and bounce off of this support, lower support, and come back up and test this descending resistance, then we could be setting ourselves up for a head and shoulders, which it looks like we have, and that's a continuation of the trend. But one of the things that it does for us from a TA standpoint is we can make a measured move. Now we can see what is our expectation of the price. Where can we set our targets? And you have to do that from the top of the head, which is up in here, to where it breaks out at the bottom, and then just bring that back down, and that would put us somewhere around the $3,000 range. So in the micro, in this short-term perspective, while we can have these prices go up and look like they might be breaking out, when they hit that resistance and we start getting these kind of patterns, we can start using those as predictabilities, probabilities, possibilities. It's all based on patterns that have been proven time over time in traditional markets, in crypto. It doesn't matter where it's at. These are things that have been proven out. They're not absolutes, but they are probabilities. So then once you see this kind of pattern, targets, those kinds of things, then you move up to see how are those translating into the upper time frames, which are much more reliable. If we go in the 1 day chart now and we've wrapped up 6 candles into one, and now this is on the Heikin candle chart, so it's kind of evening those candles out, makes it a little bit easier to read. You can see that we don't have as much up and down movement. What we've got is we've got this down movement. We found some support. We kind of came back up and tried to test this resistance line here, and we've come back down. And that pattern is, again, it's not as choppy. It's still on a downward trend, right? We're still seeing that downward trend. We tested this $3,600 area to see if we could break above it. We didn't. It was resistance. We're going to come back down, and now we're going to test the $30,000 area, which is that same area that we looked at on the measured move. So now the probability that we're going to test the $3,000 area to see if we can find support there is a very high probability. We can see that from the measured move on the 4-hour chart, that micro chart. We can see it in prior support and resistance on the chart, and we can look at the overall trend, which is obviously down. So the reality of hitting $3,000 is highly probable. Once you break that $3,000 area, your next level is about $2,500 based upon where that volume by price has been historically, based upon the way the candles line up. The reality is that's probably more like $2,400, but you end up going into another channel now. If you break through this $3,000, you have a new trading channel. This is going to be considered a trading channel. We could come back here and find support at the $3,000 and get back up and test resistance and do this for a little bit before we break down. But overall, that sentiment is still very bearish. I would not want to trade against it. Now, strategically, that's up to you. Do you want to buy in on the dip, anticipating that it's going to come in here at the $3,000 areas at some point in time? Do you want to wait till it breaks down and goes into the $2,500 area? Do you want to wait and see if it breaks that $2,500 area and come in and buy at around this $1,800, $1,900 price point? Those aren't absolutes, But those are targets that you're looking at to figure out what you want to do strategically to protect your investment or accumulate more. And if you're a hodler, it doesn't matter, right? We've talked about this before. It just doesn't matter. You're at the whim of the market, and you hold and you hope it goes up. And you probably lost money because you bought in somewhere up here, and now you're just hoping it goes up. And then it breaks out and it goes down here, and you're hoping it goes back up. But that's what TA is for, is to develop a strategy, not to have a crystal ball, not to figure out where the bottom is. You can give yourself targets. You can play the dips based upon probabilities, but it's not a crystal ball. I can't tell you if we're going to stop here at $1,800. We could blow through that, and the next logical level from there is about $1,200 or $1,300. And we could blow through that, and the next logical level from there is about $800. I can't say $800, $1,200, whatever. $3,000 is going to be the bottom. We have to let this thing play out, and then we'll look back and go, okay, here are some indicators or things that are showing that that level is the bottom. Based upon probabilities, what I can say is we're not at the bottom right now, that we will go down to 3,000, that we will probably break through 3,000 and go down lower because our volume isn't high enough to launch us past those prior resistance areas. We're in a downtrend. We've been in a downtrend. And so now you take that information and you develop your strategy. If you want to accumulate more, if you want to wait on the sidelines, and then buy in as those higher time frames start showing higher highs and higher lows, so start showing a reversal in the trend. That's all up to you. What I do want to do right now is I want to give you an Altcoin Buzz collectible coin. If you have an Engine wallet, send me your collectible coin wallet address and let me send you one of our collectible coins that you can show off to all your friends. Because I appreciate the fact that you watched the video and that you made a comment below. And until next time, may all your trades be good ones.